Hello guys, welcome back to this series on C programming. In this video, we will be learning about input-output in C programming. It's a very important lesson, so please be careful. Let's start with C output. So as usual, let's open our dev. Let's register our new page in output, input, output, for example, or output. And for sure, don't forget to change the extension to C, output.c. The first thing, we have to write the structure of our basic program. In each video, we are repeating this thing to get used to it. studio.h, int main. So in programming, printf is one of the main output functions. So to do output on the screen, we have to use the printf function. This function sends formatted output to the screen. For example, let's just send a sentence on our screen. For example, printf hello from coding academy, for example. Let's execute our program, compile and run. As a result, we have hello from the Coding Academy. So what we did in this program, we just write on our screen the sentences. This is the output of this program. Okay, so to get an output, we have to use the function printf. And how does this program work exactly? The first thing here, all valid C programs must contain the main function. The code execution begins from the start of the main function. So this main function is very important. Without this main, we cannot use C programming. The first thing, you have to include this main function to say to the computer, to inform the computer that our program has been started. The second thing, the printf. This is the printf library. It's a library function to send formatted output to the screen. This function prints the string inside quotation. Okay, so it will write what do we have inside those two quotation. Okay. To use printf in our program, as we already said in the previous video, this word is not known by our computer, so we have to add a dictionary to this computer to tell him what is exactly this printf. The dictionary here is our library, include studio.h. Okay, so to use printf in our program, we need to include studio.h header file using the include studio statement. For example, now let's write here. We will write on the screen an integer, int. So the first thing, we have to declare our integer. For example, int age is equal to 5. Now we will write on the screen the age. So we have printf %d, or let's write age 2 point %d, comma, and here, we have to write age. Okay, the name of our variable. Now we will get the value inside the age. So we are asking the C compile, please write as output age 2 point and after the value of this variable age. So let's execute. We have here as result age 2 points and the value inside the age is 5. So we use %d format specifier to print the int type. If it's float or double, we have to change this %d. So here the %d inside the quotation will be replaced by the value of this variable. Now let's see how to write as output float or double. we will write, for example, float number 1. Each time I'm changing the name of the variable to show you the different possible variable name that you can use. Okay, we have here double number 2. We can use here the declaration, and we can give the value to this variable, for example 30.5, and number here we have, let's take the same value to see exactly the difference between float and double. Now what do we have to do? We have to print those results on the screen. So we have number 1 number 1, it's equal to, what is the type of this number 1? It's float, so we have to write %f. After, let's add /n to get to a new line. Here we will add the name of the variable. Let me copy this, and we will change just some the variable name, number 2. The type of number 2 is double, so it's LF, and here it's number 2. Let's execute together. We have here number 1, this is the result, and number 2. As you can see here, exactly there is no difference between the float and double, just in the memory location. The number 1, the float, will take 4 bytes, but the double will take 8 bytes. So it's up to you. You can use float or double, okay? So this is the output, how to do output for float and double. Now let's see how to do the output for character. Here we will declare our char, for example, ch is equal to a, for example. And we will print this character, printf character. We have character, so it must be %c ch. The name of our variable is ch. Let's execute. We have here character is equal to a. So the result of this program, the result that this program gave us, it's character and ch. Now we will see, after finishing the output, now we will see how to do input to the computer. We are going to give some input to the computer. So let me create a new file. We register the file as always. We change the extension. This is input. Let's take the base extractor. What do we mean exactly by input? In C programming, there is another special function. Scanf is one of the commonly used functions to take input from the user. The scanf function reads formatted input from the standard input, such as keyboard. So we are going to ask the user to get the input, and after we will show it as output. It's very simple. We have here integer. We are going to use integer number 1. Now we are not going to ask to give the value here of the number 1, but we are going to ask the user to give it. So what do we have to do? Printf. We have to tell the user what he has to do. For example, here, enter the value, or please enter the value of the variable number. So here we ask the user to give the value of the variable number. Let me execute. We will just get, please enter the value of the variable number. Now we need this value. So we are going to use scanf person D, and address, we have to add address, and we give the name of the variable in which we want to write. So this scanf, it's exactly like printf working with this library studio.h. So to use scanf, we have to include studio.h. This is the first thing. The second thing, we ask the user to give the value of number 1. So then this value is person D, it's integer. We give the value of number 1. So when we will enter a value, when the user will enter a value, this value, the entered value, will be registered in the address of this variable. If I write like that, it's an error. Why? Because I have to tell the computer where this value exactly will be written. So it must be written in the address of number 1. Now let's execute and see. We have here, please enter the value of the variable number. Please enter the value of the variable number. Here you can see the compiler is waiting for you to give a value. For example, I give 20. Now, in the memory, the value inside number 1 is 20. Okay, so don't forget please this address. When you use scanf, always you have to add address to tell the compiler where we are going to write this value. Now let's see this value. Person D, number 1. We can write here the value of number 1 is here. Yeah, the comma must be outside of the parenthesis, not inside. So we have here the execution of the program is line by line. The computer will read this line, it will create on the memory int number 1. After it will read this line, what is the output of this line? We have on the screen. Please enter the value of the number. So for example 20. After it will register by using scanf this value inside the number 1. If you want to see the value inside this value, we have to print it. So we used printf. The value of number 1 is 20. So, two things that you have to keep in your mind. Printf is to give output and scanf is to take input from user. So, here we have, I will explain again, we have used %d format specifier inside the scanf function to take int input from the user. Okay? When the user enters the integer, it will be stored inside the number. Now, we will see how to take from the user the second type, float and double. Here we have float, for example, M1, and we have double, M2. Now, we did the declaration. We will ask the user to enter the value. Please enter, or please enter the value of M1. After scanf, the type, what is the type here? It's float, so it must be F. And here we have address. Don't forget the address of number 1. It's finished for the first. We will copy it. We will take the second. Please enter the value of number 2. The second value is double, so this one must be LF and address number 2. After taking the value from the user, now we have to print to see exactly what we have inside the number 1 and number 2. So we will do printf number 1 it's equal to %f. Let's do /n to write in this new line, and we have number 1. Yeah, let's copy it. For sure we will make some change. Printf number 2, the type is double, so it must be lf. We don't need /n, and here number 2. Let's execute, compile and run. Here we forgot the quotation. Execute. Enter the value of number 1, for example, it's 5. Enter the value of number 2, it's 6. And now we can see here 5 and 6. Okay? Now we will see how to take input for the character. So we will create our character *ch, for example. Printf. We ask the user to give the value of this character. Please enter the value of ch. You can write the message that you want here. And scanf %c. Don't forget the quotation. %c address ch. After taking this value from user, now we have to write the value to see what we have exactly inside this value. So the value of ch is %c, and we have ch. Compile and run. So we have, please enter a value, for example a. The value of ch is a. Now there is another thing that I want to show you, is the multiple value. For example, if I have 2 value here, 2 value or 2 character to enter, I don't have to do it in different line. For example, I have here ch, and or let's start with integer, and after we will come to the character. For example, here int a, int, or let's take it different. For example, float b. Printf, enter the value of a and b. We will use just one scanf. It's up to you. You can use 2 scanf, different scanf separately, or you can just use 1. So we have scanf, we have %d for the first variable. Our first variable is a, it's integer, so we have to add %d. Our second value, it's %b, it's a float, so %f, and after, without space, be careful here, there is no space, and after we have address of a, comma, address of b. Now scanf, you enter it %d and %f of a and b. Let's execute. Let's enter the value of a and b. For example, the first is an integer, it's 2. The second, it's 5.5. Here there is a mistake. Let's see together what is our mistake. We have here int a, float b. Printf, we have entered the value of a and b. We took multiple value, %f, %d, %f, address of a, address of b. Here the mistake is I wrote scanf. Here we have to write printf. It's very important those errors, because we are also learning from errors. So we have here, enter the value of a. The first one is integer 2. The second one 5.5. You can see here you enter 2 and 5.5. You can here add as variable as much as you want. For example, c, a, comma, c. Enter the value of a, b, and c. Here it must be in order. The first one is a, so %d. The second one is b, float. The third one is c, so I have to add here %d. Address of a, address of b, and I have address of c. You entered %d, %f, and %d, a, b, c. So let's enter the first one a, 4, the second one 5.5, the third one 74. So you entered 4, 5.5, 74. You can write as much as you want. Now, as you can see from the above example that we did, we use %d for integer, %f for float, %lf for double, and %c for char. That's it for this video. Thank you so much for listening. If you have any question, please write me on comment, and don't forget to subscribe to get notified for the next video. Thank you.